Are you an inbound marketer looking for the inside scoop on what's next? Are you ready to unlock HubSpot's full potential and yours? If so, you've come to the right place. The Hubcast is your leading resource for user-friendly HubSpot tips, expert insights and strategies, exclusive interviews with inbound's brightest minds, and the latest insider news. And now, here's your host, George B. Thomas.
And welcome back to the Hubcast, episode 165, where we're going to talk about how Google fixes WordPress. Last referring site, Karina likes that one. And HubSpot sequences. Karina, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. It's a bright, sunshiny day, and I'm ready to talk some HubSpot.
I got to tell you, I'm loving that background. Like, I'm not sure who you had to kick out of that spot, but that definitely should be where you record from now. Do you think you can do that?
Yeah, I think we're doing it right now. This is, I think, the official Hubcast office now. So I am in the Impact Green Room. These are custom-built tree shelves that we have here. Pretty cool. But I think I'm going to claim it for the Hubcast now. I'm liking it.
Yeah, Hubcast viewers, if you like it too, make sure you hit us up on Twitter with hashtag heck yeah, we'll know what you mean. Anyway, this show is brought to you by our HubSpot intensive training and our other HubSpot workshops. If you have questions about the CRM or smart marketing or sales enablement or how to do buyer personas, any of those things, you can definitely get a workshop from us here at Impact. Just make sure you hit me up, Thomas@impactbnd.com, and we'll see if they have a workshop that is right fit for you. And I know you're excited about this section today, Karina. I had to giggle a little bit on the intro. We are going to do property of the week.
Before we start, though, I got to put something out there. Got to talk about the elephant of the room. My mic last week was rough. I am so sorry. Oh my goodness. George and I listened back to it and we were like, what happened? So I apologize for you guys that I sounded like I was inside of an indoor pool during that one. We're working on it. Send us a thumbs up if this week was better. But do apologize for that. But let's jump into the property of the week. So this week we have last referring site. Now this is a really interesting property, and I really love diving into these for you guys, really because I don't necessarily get into a ton of HubSpot properties in what I do day to day with Impact, but I love diving in and seeing how different people are using them. So I want to know how you guys are using last referring site, because this is one of the ones that I thought, I could definitely see some use cases here, but I'm not totally sure. So what last referring site is, the HubSpot definition is, it's the last website that referred the contact to your website. It's automatically set by HubSpot for each contact. This analytics property looks at the last page viewed, so this site can be internal or external. So it could be, say, the last page that somebody was on before they converted or something like that was a landing page. I was looking at some impact contacts to look at this property, and there was a lot of impact landing pages on there, but also external sources if people are coming in from social sources. So this property, I started diving into it, and I actually reached out to our friends over at HubSpot to see what they thought about it and how they've used it before. And Courtney from HubSpot Academy, who is awesome, sent me back this response. Last referring site really helps to understand how traffic segments are accessing your site and how your website traffic gets there if you're trying to optimize across channels. So, we do that with things like tracking codes, but not all the traffic coming to your site from external sources is going to have that tracking code. So it really helps you kind of drill down, especially into specific contacts, and see where they're coming from on your site. What are your thoughts on this, George?
Yeah, I like this property, but let me first let all the Hubcast viewers and listeners know that this section actually was me being a little bit mean and evil to you and to myself, because as we're getting ready to do new sections, I was like, what could I do that would make myself dive, and Karina dive so far into HubSpot that we never usually do, and like, how granular can a guy and gal go? And then I was like, oh, well, there's about a bazillion properties And I've been using this tool for, I don't know, almost 5 years. And I know a handful of them. So let's just do this. And this is one of those ones that can be somewhat confusing, that until you really run some lists and see what you can do with it, that it might not make sense. But it's definitely one of those in the Monopoly playground that you should be playing with and testing. Look, the way I look at this is, let's say you're creating a piece of content for somebody who won't let you use a tracking code. In this case, we'll pretend that I wrote a piece of content for Remington Bag over at Impulse Creative, right? And he's like, no, you're not allowed to use UTMs. Of course, I don't think Remington would ever say that. But in that case, I could run a list of, hey, last referring site was, and then put in that URL, and I'd be good to go. But anyway, bottom of the line, moral of the story, insert any other saying that you want in this blank space, is to go in and check out those properties. We're going to help you check them out on a day-by-day basis. You know what else I want to check out is I want to check out the HubSpot wish list item for this week. So let's go ahead and dive into that. This week, I actually dove into our Mastering HubSpot Facebook group and asked the question, like, what are the top 3 wish list items that you wish you could get? There's a lot of wishes there, by the way, from HubSpot and the HubSpot product team. And this week we got a non-form, now that's form as in like put your first name, last name, email address, form, option in lead flows. And they said, I would like to add a lead flow to my page, but don't want to have my visitors fill in their email addresses. Can you make this option, recommended instead of required, whatever, or I will even say this, what would be cool in addition to this is if it was like you could just put an image there or a CTA there, and so you could have a lead flow that was a pop-up, a slide in, a banner, and it was a call to action, very graphical, that they could just click and you could send them somewhere. So this becomes a navigational versus a conversion flow. Oh, come on, that needs to happen. If you agree, make sure you vote it up. Karina, what else should people be voting up when they're not spending time working in HubSpot?
Well, hey, you should be voting up some Facebook posts in our 2 awesome Facebook groups. So if you're looking for a place to take your inbound learning to the next level, you got to get on these Facebook groups. We say it every week, but I just feel like, George, they keep heating up. Every day I go in there and there's new posts again, not from impact people, from all kinds of different people in the agency space, in the HubSpot space, posting questions, posting hacks. It's really good stuff. So we have Impact Elite and Mastering HubSpot. You can find the links in the show notes. You guys got to join those today.
Yeah, you got to get in there, people. It's ridiculous. I love both of those communities. And I also love when things just blow your mind that make you just want to be like, And of course, that means we're going into our things that make you go, section. And I want you to be able to see both of us for this section, because when I read this, I about lost my dang mind. And because the title of this is that Google tries to fix WordPress. And there's an article that you can go over to searchengineland.com. There is a link in the show notes. But in that article, they talk about how and by the way, when I say this, if you're surprised, it means you live under a rock, but we still love you, that Google is focused on speed, 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 speed. By the way, did I say speed? Oh my gosh, who knew? And that how WordPress...
Not Google.
Yeah. And how WordPress has inherently been like terrible when it comes to speed because of bloated code and just not really focusing on things that they should be focusing on. Karina, I'm super surprised because I know I sent this over. What are your thoughts on this article and just this thought of, I mean, there's so many things for me, but I'll let you go first. Like Google and WordPress kind of like colliding together for a hot minute.
Basically what this article is talking about is exactly what George was saying, but WordPress is sort of this huge, I think it has like 60% market share right now in terms of CMSs. So there's like 1/3 of the content on the internet is on WordPress, and like 60% of websites are built on WordPress. So that's insane. But historically, a lot of WordPress sites have been super slow. And this is actually really timely for me because I was just helping a client last week try to work through some of this and try to fix some of the WordPress issues, because there's only so much that we can do on the front end with our sites to optimize them for speed. At a certain point, it comes down to the actual platform. So WordPress is slow, it's resource hungry. The way that they word it, they've dispatched a crack elite squad to WordPress HQ to whip the CMS into shape. So that partnership could be one of the most consequential for years. So it's really interesting, like that they've sort of targeted WordPress and are sort of putting some of their effort into that. But I think it makes a lot of sense because it seems like, you know, platforms like HubSpot are doing what it takes to fix some of those issues, whereas WordPress, I think there hasn't been a lot of movement on that. So Google's sort of pushing that forward. But it is sort of interesting to me that they're really targeting WordPress specifically rather than sort of pushing out to all CMS platforms and website platforms as a whole, you know, different things that they think they should do.
Yeah, there's a couple of things here. So one, if you have 60% of the market, the big dogs are willing to help you out. I'm just saying, people, that is the moral of this little story. But when you go over to this article, you need to pay attention to the graphics of this article as well, because there's a punchline, lower is better, in every one of these article or these images. And it's talking about the number of server requests. It's talking about resource load by bytes. It's talking about page load signals. And man, holy mackerel, these graphics are like, really? And as a person who, like, my personal website, georgebthomas.com, is on WordPress, I'm like, come on, Google, do it. Like, make it better, make it faster, because that will be awesome. You know, on a side tangent, I wish HubSpot would make their integration with WordPress better too. Like, you know, I don't know, things like smart content. Anyway, I digress.
HubSpot ultimate wish list. Let's go.
It really is. But here's the deal. We got a show that we're supposed to put on here, so we can't have a George pity party. Speaking of a show going on, I did an interview earlier today, and it is part of the HubSpot strategy. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you, is that typically we would introduce the video and you would watch, you know, some of the interview or all of the interview. And I've been battling with myself how much I'm going to show in actually the Hubcast episode. I'm probably going to give you a little clip here shortly, but I want you to know that I did an interview with Jeffrey Vosell and Angela from HubSpot. They are absolutely amazing. We talked about the keyword tool sunsetting. We talked about the decision process that had to go into this actually taking place. We even talked about how this conversation that everybody's losing their mind over started in 2011 at HubSpot about, look, you know, we got some issues. When Google started to hide keywords and you really couldn't get the visibility that you wanted. All that to say, the interview, Karina, and you know me, I try to like get in, get out, keep it punchy. The interview is 50 minutes long, 50-minute conversation about keywords, about the process of it being sunset, how Jeff and Angela are dealing as like the heads of this, you know, movement, how they're doing it. We also get into pillar content. We talk about how some parts of the pillar content tool is going to change. We talk about on-page SEO still being able to look at, like, on-page is still going to work and the blog tool is still going to work. Anyway, all that to be said, let me play a little clip out of the strategy and let you know that we're going to do something we've never done before, and that is there's going to be a file, an episode that really isn't an episode happening on our audio version, and then there's going to be an interview on YouTube that you can watch, but you'll be able to listen to this entire interview on the Hubcast feed. So if you're driving somewhere and you know you got 50 minutes to kill, then this will fit into you. I couldn't imagine if we put it in the show, the Hubcast would be like almost an hour and a half long, which is just crazy. So let's go ahead and watch a little bit or listen to a little clip of the interview, and then make sure you check out the full interview in its entirety. The links will be in the show notes. Viewers and listeners, first of all, take a deep breath and sit back, because we just got started. And yes, Angela, super smart. Yes, this conversation has been thought of for years. Like, I want to unpack the fact that 2011, 2013, 15, 18, all through these years, HubSpot has realized we've got to make a change. We've got to fix this. And what I love is when Angela was talking about this, she's like, look, we knew we wanted to provide the best thing for the people that we love.
It's all going to be okay. I promise. Like, Angela and I and the rest of the HubSpot team are not going to let you get into a place where you're not going to be successful via your content marketing by using content strategy or another tool. The fact of the matter is, the Keywords tool, as Angela mentioned, just frankly did not give you best practices, give you good recommendations for how SEO should be done and how your content really should be written today. And because of that, we really felt the need to introduce content strategy. We're really leaning in hard. We have teams here internally dedicated and who are working on content strategy day in and day out as well.
But can we talk about the technical side of keywords, even though there won't be really a possible keywords tool?
This one is close to my heart because, first of all, I have a side business that I'm close to that is a small business that I use as kind of the testing ground for a lot of this. So I know the feeling that going into keywords gives you and seeing that you've moved up in the rankings. There is nothing quite like it. And saying, oh, cool, something's actually working. That part of the equation we want to bring back in a healthier way, but not lose the execution piece that you're describing here, which is how do I actually get the rankings to increase? How do I actually get found? So a couple things. The first is that a topic at the end of the day, let's not be too cute about it, at the end of the day is really made up of a lot of different types of keywords. The difference is that the keywords tool right now gets you to focus on one specific exact match keyword, and then you're entering that specific keyword, and the optimizations panels and the blog posts and then the page performance tools are telling you to put that specific keyword in a bunch of different places around up to 6 times. It's a logic that's in the tool. The problem with that is that gets dangerously close to keyword stuffing.
Did you get teased? Did you get intrigued? I hope you did, because the rest of the interview is absolutely amazing. You know what else is amazing is our free 15-minute assessments. That's right. If you want to get 100% out of your HubSpot or your inbound efforts, schedule your free 15-minute portal assessment. The landing page is live. The link is in the show notes, and you can go and we can have a nice little meeting where we talk to each other. But right now, I got to talk to Karina. Karina's going to talk to us about some HubSpot updates.
So before I get into the HubSpot updates, I just want to say, man, Jeffrey Vosell, those guys over at HubSpot, we like to rip them apart sometimes. We like to dive into HubSpot and do wish list and say, we wish they were doing certain things better. But, when you sit down and talk to those guys, I think you really get a sense for how much they care about their users, how hard they're working to make this the best platform that they can. And one of the things that I love, and I think it comes across in the interview and also in the conversation that we had, George, with them last week as an agency, is that, they can admit when some of their tools aren't the best that they could be, aren't functioning like they should be. And they're not afraid to sort of push it to the next level and say, we're going to sunset this in lieu of building something better that's going to be more effective for our users. So, man, I just appreciate those guys so much. And it was really cool that they made themselves available to chat with us. All right, let's dive into some HubSpot updates. So now live, we have the marketing performance widget has moved to sessions. So now if you want to look at your page performance, things like that, if you haven't noticed, you've got to go to the traffic analytics section. When they first changed this, I thought that page performance had disappeared, like was sunset and was gone all of a sudden. But you actually just have to go into performance, into traffic analytics, and you'll be able to see everything that you could see from page performance and more. So what HubSpot's done is they've replaced the old visits metric with the new sessions metric on the marketing performance widget. So over the last few months, the sources report has been updated to reflect this. And by switching this metric in the marketing performance widget as well, you'll have greater consistency in the reports you rely on to analyze your website traffic. So if you want to learn more about this, specifically about sessions versus visits and what that changes, it's aligned better sort of with the industry standards. But there's a link in the show note that you can dive into that a little bit more. Basically, lets us track people better. It's just a more reliable metric over visits. I'm not going to dive into it here, but you can check it out in the show notes.
So before we hop any further, I want to. I got to tell you something that was on my mind when I read this one. I was like, sometimes I think that they just be moving things to move things, man. And like like it was good where it was at. And then I realized that there might be a bigger game at play. And let me kind of just share with you where my mind went on this is that they just made this new analytics tool, right? It's fresh out the box. It's all new how they laid out the navigation. It's really cool. But you have to get people into that tool to get adoption. And so they know that 99.9% of people go to their dashboard and they want to see that top level metric. And so if you want to get people to actually adopt what it is that you just built, the new shiny toy, what do? You move their most loved metric into that area, so they have to go over there. I'm just saying, HubSpot, I don't hate you for that. I'm saying, kudos to you, because that was a smart freaking move. Karina, what other HubSpot updates do we have this week?
So we have a new HubSpot Connect integration. This is for Just Call. Just Call is a product that enables you to send, receive, record, and track calls and text messages directly within your HubSpot CRM. So for incoming calls, Just Call will give you a direct link to that contact profile in HubSpot, which gives the agent or whoever the call's coming into better context on the caller, makes you better able to serve your customers. You can just pull up that contact property right away. You don't have to go around searching for it. And then you also get access to analytics on recordings, voicemails, missed calls that are both filterable by agent and exportable, which makes reporting easy. I think that this is a really nice integration if you're not already using some kind of call recording and tracking software, especially for sales teams. Could be a really, really nice way. I jumped into the details of that integration. Really, it is pretty easy. You can make calls, send text right within the CRM. It's right next to a contact's properties down in the left-hand side and in the individual contact. So definitely a nice, simple integration if you need something that, maybe isn't super robust in terms of functionality, but really allows you to keep track of calls, recordings, text messages, all within the contact.
Yeah, you got to be able to pay attention to what these people are doing. You got to learn more by going to the show notes, click that learn more link, dive in, figure it out. Is it a right fit for you? We don't know, but we bring these things to you. You know what else we bring to you is what the heck? Because sometimes HubSpot needs a little help and other times you do too. Weekly tips, tricks, and HubSpot hacks to help you master HubSpot. And this week I dive into the HubSpot list tool and we uncover 3 things that every happy HubSpotter should be doing in their list tool to stay organized, to report better, and to analyze their data. It's simply the HubSpot list tool. 3 must-haves. Make sure you go to the show notes, hit that link, and watch it. Now, I am in the mix of creating tons of tutorials, so also let us know what tips, tricks, hacks you would like to see because, I can create things that just come out of the mind. It's a scary place, people. It really is a scary place. But I'd love it to come out of your mind and then me be able to create them because if you have those questions, other users have those questions as well. Where else might they get some answers to some questions? I think maybe from our newsletter. Karina, I actually saw, by the way, Hubcast listeners, I know you're looking at Karina and my voice is going, this is really weird, but I just want to throw in a point here. You could actually act like you're like talking. Anyway, here's the thing. I saw the first design of our new newsletter. It's hot. It's hot, people. So make sure you go listen to Karina because she's going to tell you how to sign up for it.
Yes. So the monthly newsletter, we're putting it together. We're getting it ready. It is not just going to be filling your inbox with nonsense. It is really good stuff. We're really excited to be putting it together. So once a month, you're going to get exclusive Hubcast listener content. We're dedicated to pushing our HubSpot and inbound educations and conversations to the next level, if you couldn't tell. So if you're interested, just head over to the main Hubcast page, sign up today. So that's at impactbnd.com/Hubcast. You can sign up right away. You'll stay in the loop and you'll get that monthly newsletter.
Yeah, you will, because you're special like that. You know who else is special? Is Twitter. But more importantly, the people on Twitter. And this week, the person on Twitter who is at Kyle_Jepson. People are going to start to think that I have like a HubSpot Academy man crush on Kyle. I talk about him a lot. Anyway.
I think they already do, George.
They probably do. They probably do. He is doing it right. He did an update on Twitter via video. Come on, Twitter and video and Kyle. I just might need a moment. Anyway, what even makes it crazier is he's talking about a new feature inside of the HubSpot CRM. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You need to go click on that link and watch it. Well, okay, it has something to do with sequences, but that's as far as you're going to get me to go. You can't twist my arm any further. Go down to the show notes. Make sure you check out the tweet of the week. What about questions? People got questions?
Oh, I got questions. If you didn't know already, we love hearing from you guys. We want to know what you want to hear from us. We love talking about HubSpot, and we love really HubSpot-specific questions that we can dive into. So my question this week is, what is one tool in HubSpot that you could be using for so much more, but just haven't had the time to dive in? So I find this for myself and a lot of our clients, they know that they could be doing things in HubSpot, but they just haven't found the time to get something set up, or there's some kind of intimidation factor there of not knowing how to use the tool. So we want to know what's the number one tool that you could be using more, but just haven't had the time to get it set up.
Yeah, I like that, as well as maybe why. Like, what is the hurdle that we can help you get past? Here's the deal. I can't believe we've reached the end of an episode already. This is crazy. It seems like it just flew by, but that's all right because we're leaving you some extra time to go listen to that 50-minute interview that we did about the keywords tool. I'm just saying, but are you listening to the Hubcast on your favorite iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, podcast playing app? If so, go over to iTunes, leave us a rating and review. It really helps us, kind of boost us up. We like that, not personally, but in the rankings of iTunes. If you're watching this, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little bell to get instant notifications on our Mastering YouTube. We're not trying to master YouTube. Mastering HubSpot YouTube channel. But maybe that's the next thing we should create, is Mastering YouTube. Actually, if you're trying to do video, and this is a total tangent, you should go over to YouTube and check out Film School for Marketers. That's another impact channel that we've been dropping some videos on, and that thing's going to be ridiculous. I'm just saying. But until next time, you've just witnessed an episode where we talked about Google helping WordPress, which I'm super excited about, properties that we're not sure how we feel about it, and how when you're into a really good interview, you lose track of time. Until next time, folks, this is George B. Thomas and
Karina Duffy
saying go out into the world and do some happy HubSpotting. Yeah, beautiful.